Henry David Thoreau, a 19th century writer and philosopher, is most renowned for his book, Walden, and his essay, Civil Disobedience. He was born in the countryside of Concord, Massachusetts in 1817 and quickly developed a fondness for the natural world. Thoreau enjoyed solitude and was a bit of a homebody. He frequently hiked, watched boats cross the canal near his home, and even built a boat himself during his late teenage years. He was also very well educated, and after finishing school in his hometown, he went on to attend Harvard College. After graduating, he became a teacher, but quit his job within 2 weeks because of a recklessness to physically discipline his students. Thoreau would later go on to open a small school with his brother John. The school did not employ harsh punishments and was very successful. As a young adult, Thoreau met the well-established and well-respected Ralph Waldo Emerson, who would serve as a mentor to Thoreau. It was Emerson who provided the land that became Thoreau's inspiration for Walden. Thoreau hand-built a small cabin on Emerson's property and spent 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days living and working in solitude. It was here, in Thoreau's 2-year experiment of living deliberately, that Walden was born. Walden, a book praising simplicity and proposing that most men lead lives of quiet desperation, is considered to be Thoreau's masterwork. While at Walden Pond, Thoreau was also inspired to write his famed essay, Civil Disobedience, after being arrested for his refusal to pay a poll tax. Civil disobedience argues that disobedience is sometimes necessary to stand against injustice. It also criticized many American policies and social institutions, most notably slavery and the ongoing Mexican-American War. After leaving Walden Pond, Thoreau spent the remainder of his years traveling, writing, and publishing his works. Henry David Thoreau died in 1860 from tuberculosis at the age of 44. Thoreau's provocative and lucid writings have cemented him as one of the greatest writers in American history. The brilliance of his works is undoubtedly clear today, but during Thoreau's lifetime, he enjoyed very little success. In fact, Walden, which has become a classroom staple in the 21st century, only sold 2,000 copies in the first 5 years of its publication. His book, A Week on the Concord and Merrimack Rivers, a tribute to his late brother John, fared even worse. When it sold a mere 220 copies, Thoreau's publishers dumped the remaining 700 books on his doorstep. The mediocre performance of his published works caused Thoreau to seek other ways to support himself. He frequently worked stints at his father's pencil-making company and also worked as a teacher, surveyor, carpenter, and mason at various points in his life. Thoreau had a multitude of financial, personal, and professional failures during his lifetime, but the power of his principal ideas has rooted itself into the very fabric of American culture. Thoreau's legacy as an intellectual has always appealed to me, and I've always found his works to be extremely thought-provoking. His philosophies on living simply, maintaining autonomy, advocating for social justice, and rebelling against the social pressures to conform have been ideas that have resonated very strongly with me. My high school senior yearbook quote was actually a line by Thoreau that I've always found very inspiring. It reads, "A man is rich in proportion to the number of things which he can afford to let alone." Thoreau had the opinion that many persons are burdened by the things that they possess, and this is something that I agree with. Time is the most valuable thing that we own, and true wealth is being able to accept and enjoy what one has at the moment. Because of Thoreau, I've begun to really value simplicity in my own life. In high school, I used to be very preoccupied with the thought that I needed to achieve something. I created such high standards for myself that I harmed my mental health in an effort to uphold them. I realize now that worth is not based upon achievement, and years ago, the writings of Henry David Thoreau genuinely helped me to come to that conclusion. Health and happiness is far, far more important than any accomplishment. A person's value can never be determined by a letter on a report card or a promotion at work. One of my favorite Thoreau quotes is, If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears the beat of a different drummer. Let him step to the beat he hears, however measured or far away. It's a beautiful quote and a reminder of the importance of individuality. I related to this quote a lot in my youth, and I'm sure that many other people can relate to this too. There is a great pressure to conform to the accepted beat of the drum, and only in rejecting this beat can we find the one that we were meant to follow. Being different is never bad, and Thoreau's teachings remind us that the well-trodden path is not the one that we necessarily have to follow.